Well, welcome to Big Blend Radio with Nancy and Lisa, the publishers of Big Blend magazines, and very excited to go to Louisiana, Nancy.
It's so
It's
lovely
Louisiana,
there.
Louisiana, one of our favorite places ever. And we're going to talk about the no man's land of Louisiana. This is a disputed area between Spanish Texas and the United States, newly acquired Louisiana Purchase, when Louisiana became Louisiana between 1819 and 1821. I believe this is when this area was a no man's land. So this is very interesting. It was after the Battle of New Orleans, which was fought on Sunday, January 8th, 1815. And so this was an area that shenanigans happened, basically.
Well,
I'm just going to say it that way.
If nobody owns it, let's go.
You know
and
what?
Get your part.
All I know is we've been through a lot of part of that territory, and it's one of the most amazing areas, and we're very excited. We have special guests joining us. First off, Arlene Gould. You've heard her on Big Blend Radio before. Mm-hmm. She is the executive director of the Natchitoches Convention and Visitors Bureau. You can go to natchitoches.com, and I'm going to spell that out. natchitoches.com. Did I get that right, Arlene? Did I pass the spelling bee? I got it.
You got it.
I got to do the spelling bee over. I mean, because Natchitoches is what it's like, right? And that's your name. And okay, so Arlene, welcome back. Number one. Number two, you're still winning more awards. I heard. Like recently.
Good for you.
It's nonstop in Natchitoches. You guys just keep racking up awards. I see it happening.
Awesome.
You know. But
well, thanks for having me back on the show. It's always a pleasure.
Well, you brought some special guests on your show today. Now we've got Rebecca Blankenbaker, and she's been on our show before. But before she was on the show, she wasn't the executive director, but she is now. She took it over. She's the executive director of the Cane River National Heritage Area. Everyone, you can go to canerivernha.org. Welcome back, Rebecca. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, we're excited. So the Cane River National Heritage Area, and I want to really this is important because you encompass like a big area. So like when we were in Natchitoches, which is pretty much northwest Louisiana, right? You incorporate Natchitoches, you incorporate the Cane River Creole National Historical Park, which is how we found out about Natchitoches, was on our tour going to national parks or units within the National Park Service. And, of course, you are part of that, being a National Heritage Area, but also like Melrose Plantation and places like that. That's all incorporated, right?
All included in our National Heritage Area. We have 32 heritage sites that include the national park, but also include 3 state historic sites and a number of state museums and other facilities that are open to the public and demonstrate our unique culture and history within the Cane River and Natchitoches area.
And I heard that you've got like a new area now, like kind of like a new visitor center kind of deal where we can go out and look over the lake and something like that, like what we haven't experienced. We just want to come out. We want to come back.
Yes. Well, in these trying times, sometimes due to budget cuts, some of these visitor centers have to close shop or shorten their hours. So the Heritage Area has actually embarked on 2 new partnerships. One with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to open the Grand Corps Visitor Center, which overlooks the Red River. It sits on an 80-foot bluff and looks at the Red River. It's a beautiful facility. And the other is Los Adayas State Historic Site. It is actually the first capital of Spanish Texas, and it is one of the most significant archaeological sites in the state of Louisiana, if not in the southeast. And we manage both of those sites and keep them open to the public. So we're really excited about those endeavors. And they both talk about man.
This is amazing. And it's so interesting, like how this, you take a negative and make it into a positive, right? That's it. That's,
exactly.
Louisiana knows how to do
that.
That's it.
Love it.
That's exactly. But I know that you make it into a beat-up beer. But anyway, just saying.
But that too.
I want to bring Linda Curtis Sparks on. We met Linda, like a few years ago on
Quite
our
a
trip,
few.
and to Natchitoches. Yeah, it was quite a few years. And I remember that before we met Linda, we met a giant fish outside your visitor center, and Priscilla, our little sock monkey, had a good time playing in the fish. You have giant fish in your town. Linda is in Sabine Parish, right? So in this parish, you pretty much run along Toledo Bend, this Toledo Lake. Am I getting this right? Sabine River. This is like
You
this
are
whole
getting it
region.
right. And since we visited with y'all, not only do we have more of those art lunkerfish, but we were actually named a couple of years in a row as the #1 bass fishing lake in the nation. And so people pretty much identify with Toledo Bend Lake Country as being big fish. And later in the program, we will explain that that is just one of the things in our background, in our culture, that we're going to highlight during this celebration. We're going to have a fishing tournament that covers all the water bodies in all of our districts, and Toledo Bend will be one of those. So Toledo Bend actually was made by the damming of Sabine River. It is one of the largest man-made lakes in the South. Has a lot of history.
But you know what? I just have to say, I have always wanted to be a big fish.
There you go, Nancy. Well, you can be one if you want to be.
How do I get to be a big fish?
All I know is, like, this whole region is absolutely beautiful. We were there in July 2014, I believe it is. Yeah, and it is so green and beautiful and just lush, and you need to go. Everyone should go. It's so beautiful. It's just, you're a garden area too. There just seems to be flowers everywhere through the entire region, from not only Sabine Parish, but into Natchitoches and Alexandria. The whole area seems to have, it's like flower power exists there.
There are a lot of opportunities to get out and experience native plants. And, of course, through all of our region, we have pine trees. And we actually have people that come into our region that just, it seems like that's all they want to do is, especially out of the United States, is just take pictures of trees. But each of our parishes have either memorial gardens or special areas that we can send people into. Like Arlene has the Coosatchee National Forest. And I think in our region we have 3 scenic byways. Arlene has the Dogwood Trails. We have Toledo Bend Forest Scenic Byway. Vernon has Myths and Legends. And Calcasieu, Lake Charles, Cameron, has a wonderful Cajun
Creole Nature Trail.
Creole Nature Trail. That is just one of the one of the things that people certainly need to visit when they come to Louisiana.
There's something really interesting about when you enter Louisiana, if you're coming from the west and you go through Beaumont, Texas, and you hit Lake Charles, and Lake Charles is cool too, and like you said, we went on the Creole Nature Trail and then came up. Actually, that's how we connected with you all, and came up and went through Natchitoches, and you just wouldn't expect that there would be Coosatchee in the forest. Like, you wouldn't think a forest would be there, but suddenly here it is. And then I just, I don't know, I felt like I was on the beach with you, Linda, in Toledo Bend, and all these wildflowers on the waterfront, like on the lake, and going and we walked with the National Park Service and the State Park Service, going out and looking for bald eagles and seeing the bald eagle nests and stuff. They taught us so much. It was really one of the most unique experiences that we've had, I have to say, in our lives in this country.
Oh, for sure.
Was our trip to Louisiana, visiting Lake Charles, visiting Natchitoches, and Sabine Parish. Now, John Crook is on the line too. I got to introduce him on here because, John, you're next. People told us we got to go to Vernon Parish, and apparently, you got a lot of really good things happening over there. Tell us about where you are in regards to the layout of the land, in regards to Natchitoches and Sabine Parish.
Well, my parish, Vernon Parish, is kind of in the center of no man's land, and we are famous in the modern era for Fort Polk, we're the home of Fort Polk, which is a major training facility with the United States Army, the home of the Joint Readiness Training Command. So
we did
Fort
go
Polk
there.
opened.
Yeah.
Did you go to Fort Polk?
We went through there. We didn't go on the base, but I always like to go to a military base because there's men in, uniform. Just saying. I didn't get there. I didn't get on the base. Sorry.
Well, there are men in uniform
for sure. My mom is just like rolling her eyes at me right now. She's like, "Did you have to say that?" But yeah, it's true. Sorry.
Well, they are indeed there. So that has a major impact on our community, and have had since 1941, because the Great Louisiana Maneuvers, which was the military training that preceded the U.S. entry into World War II, took place in this area, and that led to the establishment of Camp Polk, later to become Fort Polk. So since 1941, Vernon Parish has had a huge influx of people, and that naturally affects the culture as well. I do think the historic culture of No Man's Land, which is kind of a you live and let live, let's say that, I think that actually translates into a welcoming kind of sense of our way of life here. Many people retire here from the military, and that says an awful lot of good about the community. The thing that you were talking about earlier, we also have in Vernon Parish a unit of the Kisatchie National Forest, and Vernon Parish is the officially designated wildflower capital of Louisiana, with over 3,000 varieties of wildflowers, which includes native orchids, bog plants, all that kind of stuff. It's really prevalent throughout the entire region of the western part of the state. I mean, there are just wildflowers everywhere.
Okay, so where were we at? Tunks, Oyster Bar, Tunks?
Okay, but I want to
know
know
part of it?
Best time to go and see all of them blooming.
Yeah.
What month?
Well, that's a little challenge because they're wildflowers, so there are different flowers during the different seasons of the year. One of the things that you can do here, though, is we have a bed and breakfast, Allen Acres, and it is owned by a retired botanist, LSU professor, Dr. Charles Allen, and he conducts regular tours into the forest throughout the year to talk about all kinds of plants. And he hosts many groups, different kind of naturists and people that are looking at not only the flora but also the fauna. So it's wildflowers and wildlife that he conducts tours about.
This is amazing. I want to go back to the No Man's Land events and what we're talking about, because I don't want to get greedy, because we have people who have sent us on story missions on our Love Your Park store. We are on the tour to go. We're going to travel full time to actually document every single park and public land in the country, not just National Park Service, like every single one.
Right.
And we have our friends have sent us on missions. One of them is gardens, which means plants and all that good stuff.
You see
we have we have actually got a story mission for Fort Polk. Okay.
Great.
It is it's to follow in the footsteps of Generals Halmore and all these other generals that have done so much work. And so I'm not allowed to say everything now, but I know. But anyway.
Exciting.
We have all these story missions, and I know all of your parishes. Arlene, I know we got to go to the garden that you got, Beaujardin. I'm getting it right, Beaujardin. You got your garden up front. Yeah, we've been already told we need to go there. So anyway, I don't want to get greedy because I'm just excited because we have so many gardens to do and places to go on our tour, but. The No Man's Land, this is a very interesting thing. I want to give everybody a little bit of background. So, Rebecca, I want to go to you on this. You're part of the Cane River National Heritage Area. You're the executive director, not just part of it. You're the executive director now. Can you give everybody an idea of what happened, what went down? Because New Orleans, it's really interesting. You got Natchitoches, which is the very original, settlement. Then everyone thinks, oh, New Orleans is the big deal, right? And it was. And then we had the Battle of New Orleans, which is really unique and interesting. And then all of a sudden, here's this no man's land that happens after. That's weird. Like it's cool. It's like what is the no man's land?
Well, I'll back it up for you just a little bit and take it back to the Louisiana Purchase of 1803. So if you actually look at a map of the Louisiana Purchase, it leaves out that western portion of Louisiana, which is what we today refer to as no man's land or the neutral strip. And this portion becomes a contested piece of territory that both the Spanish and the United States sort of say that they have claimed to. And in order to settle sort of some of the unrest in the territory, the Spanish lieutenant colonel on the Spanish side and the U.S. general decided to sort of just declare this neutral zone between the Arroyo Hondo and the Sabine River, and that's to the west and the east, and then the Gulf of Mexico to the south, and the 32nd parallel to the north. And this becomes the neutral strip. And so out of this, from about 1806 until 1819, it's an official designated neutral strip by the United States government and the Spanish government. So you have folks who are using this territory to settle because they are not allowed to get proper land grants within the Louisiana territory. The Spanish are using this as lands for Native Americans, tribes who are seeking shelter from other parts in the eastern United States who are being pushed westward. And you have other cultural groups that are seeking asylum and settling out west. At the same time, you have this western expansion being pushed out from the United States. And this sort of why we're celebrating no man's land and the bicentennial of becoming Louisiana from 1819 to 1821 or 2019 to 2021 is because in 1819, both the Spanish government and the United States government come to an agreement with the Adam-Onis Treaty, and this actually declares that the Sabine River will become the boundary, the western boundary of Louisiana or the United States, and the eastern boundary of Spanish Texas. So the treaty was signed in 1819, and it was ratified by the United States Congress in 1821, which officially makes that boundary line real. But in the meantime, from 1806 to 1819, you just have this neutral zone where there's no military and there's really no government control.
So could I go get a farm and farm and not pay taxes?
You have a lot of people yes, you have a lot of people who are staking claim and making claims on property. And I'm going to call on John and Linda because they're my two history buffs in the group, and they can help me out here because they really truly their parishes are in the no man's land. Natchitoches is unique because especially Natchitoches Parish, because we were that frontier, we were that last stop of almost civilization before you enter the true frontier. So that's why Natchitoches has a role in this, because people loaded up on all of their goods as they were heading west to Natchitoches. And then
everyone's going to go to Natchitoches too because you were the first settlement as well. So like that is like so you're like the military supply. You were like the depot. Natchitoches was like the depot, right?
Exactly. And in Sabine and Vernon Parish and Allen and Calcasieu and Cameron, that's where you have these land claims, and I'll turn that over to Linda and John because they do a better job.
Linda, tell me
what.
And
like if you're okay,
go ahead.
One of the reasons that Sabine was so heavily, I would say the heaviest populated during this period is because of the El Camino Real. The El Camino Real, if you will think back to the 1600s, started at Mexico City and went to Natchitoches. And in fact, you have, prior to this period, even the Las Adias, the mission there at Las Adias and all that history. But so much of Sabine Parish was settled through this area because of the El Camino Real. It had numerous crossings on the Sabine River. That El Camino Real went straight across Sabine Parish into Natchitoches. And so this area developed north and south, a little heavier in the region than others at that time. So there's a lot of that history that just ties together. We have land grants that were issued in 1818 that ancestors are still living on at this time. And so when we started this celebration, Lisa, we went back. We first started with the universities to determine the boundaries, and they were able to. We've met with many historians, and the storytelling that we will have at some of our events is really exciting to me. But the history of the land grants and how the land was settled and that type of thing leads us up to current day. So we can actually trace some of the families that are still here forward into present day in some of our parishes.
Well, that's good because we're on the Family
Vernon,
History Mission, so we'll come through on that. I'm just not to be greedy on that side of it, but no, it's really interesting. So tell us, John, go ahead.
Well, in Vernon Parish had a great area in the center of it called the Anacoca Prairie, and it was highly desirable land, but that land had been given to a French planter in Natchitoches, Ambrose LeCount, and granted to him in the 18th century. And he maintained ownership of his land all through the neutral strip or no man's land period, and even when the claims began to be challenged by the Americans coming in, saying these weren't Spanish Texas claims, the LeCount family proved their claim, and it went to the United Supreme Court where the court said that their claim was valid. And that claim was for about 20,000 acres right here in Vernon Parish. Wow. And they continued to operate a stock farm on that land until shortly after the American Civil War. So I mean, you have a connection. All of these roads, the El Camino Real, the Beef Trail, the Indian Trails, all of these roads, they all had a big part in the settlement and the peopling of the area.
But at this point, this time frame, when we look at the no man's land time frame, Arlene, like we talked about this before on the show, Arlene, that this is when shenanigans can happen because there was no law.
Correct. Right. So what we're doing, Lisa, is taking the culture that grew out of this period and celebrating it with events.
Oh, I like that.
That
because
the people can come and participate and get a little bit of the flavor of no man's land.
And the history.
We like that.
A lot of people don't even realize, the history of no man's land.
I think that, it sounds really fun and cool because you're doing something different, and I think that people who settled lands like that had the most gumption, the fortitude, the attitude.
They still have that.
Yeah, that's some of what we're celebrating, we think.
Louisiana. All right, listen. I know
where my plot of land is.
I know. No, it's like, and get off my lawn. But
no, because there's something really exciting about the idea of I'm going somewhere I've never been before, and I'm going to settle it come
hell or high water.
Right.
And you had the water.
And you do it. And then it's like, there's no law in place. Yippee. And then other places there's law in place. You're like, okay.
But I want to say this because you got Toledo, right? So there's the Sabine River, okay, on the west. And then when you get to Natchitoches, you have the Cane River. Okay. So Rebecca, you mentioned the Red River. So explain that part because that gets interesting. How you know what I mean?
Yes. So we're all familiar that rivers wind and they change their course. At one time, the Cane River was actually part of the main channel of the Red River, and around in the late 1700s, early 1800s is when we start to see the Red sort of shift its course. And about the mid 1800s, about 1830s, 40s, the Red River has officially changed its course, and it has diverted to north of Natchitoches, and Cane River becomes just an oxbow off of the main channel of Red River. And then later in the 20th century, due to flooding and to try to control and stabilize the Cane River, it is dammed at both ends, and so it's not free flowing from the Red River. But at one time, the Red River ran through the heart of Natchitoches, which is a reason why, I think, a testament to one of the reasons why Natchitoches is the saved historically, a lot of the historic buildings and structures, because we did not have it commerce and change that comes with being a river community was redirected from Natchitoches and just north of the town. So a lot of our history is saved due to that river's changed course.
That's very important in the preservation of the community as well. Very true.
Well, if you can imagine Natchitoches with steamboats right outside of Front Street, from the shops that you see today and visit today, and look across to the river, to Cane River, it's hard to imagine that steamboats were actually there loading cotton to take down to New Orleans and other goods, being shipped to Europe and back,
Well, if it was happening now, I have to say, Arlene, they'd be going through fireworks.
Every Saturday for sure.
But it is amazing to me,
cool,
but you have like a Louisiana highway, right? Like there's like this scenic byway, heritage highway, like where as you travel through, I have to say, I know the Southwest where we are now in Tucson, there is this ancient land, and then you get into Louisiana and your area, which, I think I'm not knocking New Orleans at all. I mean, we got New Orleans folks on the show right here, right now. Arlene will hit me over the head. No, there's nothing wrong with New Orleans, but I think a lot of us always think New Orleans. When you think Louisiana, that's the thing. But the reality is, what we have found is your area is just amazing to learn about the history, the nature, and I think this no man's land part is one of those things that people don't even know about. Like, this is so cool that you're celebrating it, you're doing all these events, people can come out and learn about it and know that, shenanigans. I was on a boat, and Nancy, you and I were on a boat in the Sabine region, and Linda, I know the place is no longer open at the time, but we were in an area, and this lady took us on a boat, and she goes, like, at this time, back in the day, like, if you were back in the day, you would be privy to seeing privateers and rum runners and people coming through at this time, and no one could do anything, right? Cool. You know what I mean, Linda?
That's right, and that's one of the things that we're celebrating. When you get to Calcasieu and Lake Charles, they have a wonderful Pirates Festival, and so we're taking each of the festivals and events that we already had in the region, and we're adding elements of no man's land to them. So it may be storytelling, it may be traveling exhibits, but we're taking some of those things that you mentioned and highlighting them through this celebration. Then we're also creating other special events that we've never had before, mainly to get people to just come to the region and experience it.
Well, you have a powwow. Let's start with your area, right? The Choctaw Apache Annual Powwow. Now, that's something for people to know. Remember the Native American roots, right, of what happens in the area.
And we did. And Rebecca can tell you better the Indian tribes that were here at that time, but the Choctaw were here. The Apache tribe was here, along with about 5 others. They merged after that period of time, but all of that culture is a part of it. It's part of our food. It's part of our music, our heritage as we go forward.
And everyone, this is going to be an event that happens. There's an actual powwow happening April 26th through 27th in Sabine Parish. So when we say Sabine Parish, where are they going?
Well, they're going to be on the northern end of Toledo Bend. They actually have some designated land. And on that particular weekend, you can experience their food, their music, the drums. You can many things about their culture and the art that came out of that period.
So everyone, we're looking at this happening. 2019 is we're getting into that. I want to bring Arlene onto this. Melrose Arts and Crafts Festival is part of this, obviously in Natchitoches, April 6th and 7th. But Arlene, can you speak on Manny? Because isn't that one of the first events happening in February?
Actually, that's in Sabine. This is going to be at Fort Jessup State Historic Site, which is in Sabine Parish. And I think Miss Linda, you could probably, or Rebecca, I know, has a lot more information on that. But that is going to be the big kickoff with the Lieutenant Governor, Billy Nungesser. And we're going to have school groups invited to this event. But we do have a full day schedule. And I don't know if Rebecca or Miss Linda, if you want to pick it up from there.
Rebecca knows more about the reenactments. Do you mind jumping in, Rebecca?
Sure thing. So Fort Jessup was sort of the once folks went to Natchitoches and got their goods. Fort Jessup was the last stand before they hit the frontier. So we thought no better place than to launch this bicentennial celebration than at Fort Jessup. And we have a number of reenactors who are going to be there demonstrating cooking and blacksmithing and medicinal ways from the 1800s, from this period. We've invited school groups. We invite the community. There will be there will be a number of vendors who will possibly sell sort of handmade candles and that sort of thing. And so it'll take place on Friday and on Saturday, and it's free and open to the public. You can come and sort of see what it was like before you headed off on the frontier.
And don't leave out the music and the food, because that's always
of course
makes
not.
people
okay,
happy.
Listen. You get into Louisiana, just already go buy another pair of pants. You don't go in with your original pair of jeans. No, just already know you're going to go a size up, and that's good.
Well,
and you're going to be.
We do.
And as your size increases, you're going to be laughing too, and you're going to have a good time. I just want to say that, because
it's so much
fun. You will increase in size. I'm just saying.
Well, we have as another partner, we have the Louisiana Seafood Foundation that will bring in seafood for us. We're going to have seafood jambalaya. We're going to have a lot of foods that are cooked over the open fire. We hope to have the Chattahoochee fry bread for the public to experience. Lots of sweets that you actually cook in the earth, as we did years ago. So there'll be a lot of things to observe, but also things to taste the flavor of and kind of step back in time a little bit.
And for music, we'll have the Louisiana State Fiddle Champion, Clancy Stewart, who was here in Natchitoches at the Folk Festival and won the state championship for fiddling. So she'll be there to provide the music for the event.
I'm all like, I'm ready. I just want to get. I want to get back. I want to get back there. John, what's going on in Vernon Parish? I want to know what's happening.
Well, our festival is Mayfest, which is the first weekend in May, and Mayfest is a local arts and crafts festival, but really with a strong emphasis on music, and it's primarily country western music. There's a little bit of Zydeco and Louisiana blues, but primarily country western music. And that's a big part of the area. You know, this is a big kind of cowboy western area with a lot of rodeos and trail rides. And so there's a lot of emphasis in the culture on horses. And while you're not going to see those horses at Mayfest, you'll hear the music that the cowboys or that country western fans love.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I just want to know there's going to be cowboys. I'm in.
I know.
Oh, is that as good as guys in uniforms?
Yes, it goes right there. It's all the same. It's all the same. We want a theme. We want a theme. Okay, that's what it goes down to. You know.
I hear you.
Yeah, that's our requisite as we travel, you know. But no, I think this is so cool. I love the no man's land. Who doesn't love that theme? As like really, this was this area, and I remember going there and just being on a boat, going, "This was the no man's land," and you know, Kelly going, "This is the no man's land. This is where things happen, and no one can stop him at this time." And I'm like, "This is the coolest thing ever!" Like. This needs to be celebrated, and you guys are really doing it, and it's like amazing. You guys, and I not from my thing, but
I just think spirit comes from there. Like spirit,
yes.
do something.
I think that
guts.
Yes, I think that the underlying theme here is that while yes, we have our myths and legends of outlaws and renegades, really, no man's land is a beautiful stretch of land in Louisiana, and the people who reside in no man's land, whether they've been there for generations or they've just moved there, they really sort of rely on the land and each other to make a way of life, and they hold their traditions close, and we can still see that today. And I think that's what's really the underlying beauty of this celebration.
This is about your heritage. This is part of your heritage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spirit. To me, it's spirit.
Yeah, it's your family, it's your spirit, it's who you are. Arlene, I want to go back to you in Natchitoches. You know, it's interesting because you have, you know, the heritage area, obviously. You have the downtown, just won another award, the Main Street. Am I reading that right?
Yes,
I mean,
we did.
We did.
Congrats.
We
Main
did.
Street.
We found out from the Lieutenant Governor's office that Natchitoches was selected as one of the 5 Main Street success stories in the nation. So we've come a long way.
Man.
You know, we're very proud of Main Street.
Girl.
I know. I can't. I don't know. Every show she comes on,
I know.
it's like, well, we just gotta have
It's
this
like
thing happen here.
What's that song, Rack 'em Up?
I know, Rack 'em Up. Johnny Lang would love you, and others. But here, you know, when you look at what's going on in Natchitoches, being the oldest settlement, and I just think it's so interesting how it spreads out, like the history spreads out through everything. And then one of the events is the Melrose Arts and Crafts Festival. That's a thing that happens every year. It's been how many years now? 30, 40 years now?
It's 40 years, or 39, somewhere up in there. 39 or 40 years for sure, out at Melrose Plantation.
Wow. Awesome. It's happening there. And then you also have a Find Your Park event at Oakland Plantation, which is part of the national parks. You know, that
Oakland,
is
and
amazing.
that's coming up on April 26th, is it, Rebecca?
Yes, it's April 26th. The idea is to sort of involve, to get families involved and invite them to the park.
Find their national park. Yep, to find their park. So we're
excited
I love
about that. Go ahead.
So we're excited about that as well. So it's springtime, and it's a pretty time of the year. So April's a good time, or any time is a good time to come visit us in Louisiana.
I would say I'm looking at everything that you have. There's a huge list all year round. Everyone will put it up on nationalparktraveling.com. You'll be able to see it there. And I also encourage you to go to everybody's website. So, Arlene, tell everybody where to go for Natchitoches.
It's NATCHITOCHES.com, Natchitoches.com.
Okay. Awesome. Rebecca, for your website, what's the best place?
It is CaneRiverNHA.org.
Okay, Linda, over in Toledo Bend area. Now that you're in the hotbed of it all.
Yeah, and mine
you
is
really
the
are
longest,
in the no man's land.
I want to give you my website, but I also want to be sure that we tell you that people can go to visitnomansland.com, and they can see what's going on in all 8 of the parishes. They can see all the events that are coming up and get information on the entire region. And then they can go individually. If they come individually to Sabine Parish, it would be Toledo Bend, LakeCountry.com.
Okay, so ToledoBendLakeCountry.com, but it is also visitnomansland.com.
That's correct, for all of
Cool.
No Man's Land, for all of the 8 parishes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
Okay, and then, John, tell us about Vernon Parish, where people can keep up with you.
Well, they can visit our website at LouisianaLegendCountry.com.
Oh, wow! You got the Legend Country.
I like
Okay, wait.
that.
I want to know why are you a Legend Country? What? Who? What? Where?
Well, because
What happened?
we have the Myths and Legends Byway, and we are filled with legends and tall tales and all the stories about these highwaymen and land pirates and the individuals that settled our areas. Lots of stories. So that's where our legends come from. LouisianaLegendCountry.com is our website, and it will tell you a lot of that information.
Cool.
Oh, wow. Okay,
I'm glad that
out.
Linda brought up our website for No Man's Land. It's a beautiful website, and I encourage all your listeners to go visit the website. And again, it's visitnomansland.com.
Visit nomansland.com and check it out.
Ma'am.
And
So where is the settle in no man's land?
there's no settle. You're gonna go move in a parish somewhere. I mean,
I know.
the whole area.
I
Listen,
want to be back in
I just-
the 17.
I want everyone to know, this is a great event, and it's gonna. Arlene, this is a 3-year thing, right?
It's a
We're just touching on
3-year-long
what's happening now, but
3-year-long
3 years.
celebration, so we're looking forward to it. So.
Awesome.
Everybody, a great reason to get out to Louisiana and discover the other side that people don't think about all the time. Just saying. Just saying.
I could party for 3 years.
Louisiana is amazing. You can see everything, and you can experience good food, amazing music, culture. You can get hiking. You can go out in the river. You can go swamping. You can do so much. It is real. Louisiana is real, and
you can
that's what I
feed
have to
your
say
soul
about
here.
it. It's like when I look at Louisiana is like its own country. When I think about the rest of the country as a state, this is its own place. And when you cross that line, you already know you're in Louisiana, and no one else has it. That's it. So go.
That sets us apart.
Thank you guys for joining us. We got some special music for you. Okay, so I know you guys like a little bit of water, right? So so I had to do this because we love our mama's boys out there in New Orleans, but they love to travel as well. So we're gonna play a little Thunder Rolls from the Mama's Boys, Johnny Mastro and the Mama's Boys. You can keep up with them at johnnymastro.com. But here it is, Thunder Rolls. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, people.
We'll see you
Thank
soon.
you.
Awesome.
Thank you.